It was winter, and the moment I stepped out, I felt a biting chill. Guan Ziyi pulled the zipper of the down jacket to the top, covering half of his face tightly. Ding! The elevator reached the 26th floor, and after the door opened, she walked in. In the process of going downstairs, the elevator stopped several times, and other residents came in one after another. She reached down and lowered the brim of her hat, looking down at the phone screen. The screen of the phone shows the official blog of the TV series Heartbeat 10,000 Times, which she filmed last year and was released this year. This is the second time she has acted as the heroine, but like the first time, this movie is still a silly character, not even sweet. And because of the old-fashioned plot, no sparks aroused after the show was broadcast. Even if it is not aroused, Guan Ziyi has to bear the criticism of the original book fans, saying that her heroine image is stupid and stupid. She looked helpless and funny, and it wasn't that she had to act like this. In fact, like the audience, she feels that the heroine's various behaviors are very confusing, but the script is like this, and the screenwriter has no way to change it like this. Guan Ziyi sighed and continued to read the comments. The last one of the hot comment. After reading this comment, Guan Ziyi turned off the phone. The screen went dark, and she looked at her eyes through the reflection of the phone. In fact, she also cares about her appearance. The economic company said that she is too innocent and immature, and with a small round face, she is a standard silly, white and sweet image on the screen. Also because of her looks, no one has ever found her to play a role other than silly Badian and Bailian Hua since filming. She was also unwilling to be restricted in the way of play, and because of her popularity, she was not qualified to pick it. Some performances are already pretty good. Buzzing at this moment, the phone vibrated suddenly, and the word Dad popped up on the screen. Guan Ziyi's thoughts were withdrawn and answered the phone. Hey! Xiao Wu, I'm going to meet with the little son of the Hua family today, I haven't forgotten it. When the elevator reached the first floor, Guan Ziyi went out and said in a low voice, I even called to ask, just for fear that I won't go. What do you mean? Guan Ziyi said boredly, isn't I going to set off now? It's punctual. It's rude to be late. Understood. You, live a normal life, don't just focus on the entertainment industry, and you can't make any splashes. Talking in the receiver again, Guan Ziyi sighed, a little melancholy. Today, her father Guan Xinghui asked her to meet a person named Hua Hengzi, the only Miao Miao of Huaxi Enterprise, and the young master of Zhongxing Gongaiu. She went to see him and said that to be more euphemistic is to meet a new friend, and to be more direct, it is a blind date. She is only 23 years old this year. She is still young in the entertainment industry at this age, so she shouldn't talk about marriage at this stage. But in the economic circle of interest in the imperial capital, which of the upper-class people is not a reference target that has already been right? And because her father hates the entertainment industry because of his mother, he has been trying to pull her back from the entertainment industry. But she really likes acting. In order to get into the circle, she secretly went to the draft during the freshman holiday. Later, after she was really selected, she made her debut with the women's group. Although this girl group didn't have any splashes, she was selected by the company somehow and got into the showbiz. But her father didn't like it very much. He had a big fight with her after knowing that she secretly went to the filming, saying that she couldn't be in the entertainment circle without relying on her family. Back then, she was hard-hearted enough. When she quarreled, she said that she would never use a penny at home from now on, and not rely on a little family relationship, she must perform all by herself. Her father was so angry that he ignored her for a long time and did not allow anyone in the family to help her. And she, like her dad, is stubborn and stubborn. So from the sophomore year to now, she has earned her tuition and daily expenses by herself. In fact, she just wanted to tell her father that she can support herself and by the career she likes. It has been 4 years since the beginning of filming, and she is indeed able to support herself. Unfortunately, there was no performance at all. However, the relationship with his father has eased after such a long time, but the two people talked again when he mentioned that he wanted her to return to the company and stop wasting time in this circle. Later, it was about to collapse before I decided to take a step back. Her dad gritted his teeth and said that he would give her another 2 years for her to act and make trouble. But she must also listen to him, make friends with people he thinks is right, and fall in love with people he thinks are right. Guan Ziyi certainly didn't really want to fall in love, but in order to stabilize her dad, she had to agree. Because if she really provokes her dad, she really can't get mixed up in the circle. The young master of the Hua family set the place where the two would meet in a Western restaurant. When Guan Ziyi knew it, it happened to rain. She hurriedly got out of the car and trotted to the entrance of the restaurant. The waiter opened the door and asked whether to make an appointment. Guan Ziyi nodded. There is an appointment called Hua Hengzi. The waiter checked the appointment form and took her inside. Please, please. Hua Heng's position was not determined in the box, but Guan Ziyi didn't mind. Anyway, few people could call her name on the road, not to mention that she was so tightly packed today. She waited for half an hour, but the agreed time was so much longer than Hua Hengzi hadn't appeared yet. But the more Guan Ziyi waited, the happier he was, and she wished he wouldn't come. 10 minutes passed, and Guan Ziyi felt that it was almost time. He took his cell phone with joy and planned to leave. However, at this moment, someone on the side suddenly called her, Guan Ziyi. Guan Ziyi was stunned for a moment, then turned his head to look around. The person who called her was a completely strange woman. Seeing her turning around at this time, the woman's previous hesitations and guesses turned into joy in an instant. When her eyes lit up, she immediately put down the fork in her hand. Really, it is you? Hello, I am your fan. Guan Ziyi was dumbfounded and glanced at his clothes. Today, she wore a down jacket that didn't show her figure for her own discretion, and she wore a scarf and a hat in order not to be noticed. To be reasonable, it is absolutely impossible for her to be recognized as such, but now someone called her name? I really love fans. Ah, hello. Guan Ziyi nodded to the man quickly. The girl was a little excited and said, I didn't expect to see you here. I like you very much. I watch the vlog updated on your Weibo every time. It's really fun. When a lot of verbal abuse is seen, anyone will feel happy to hear such compliments occasionally. Guan Ziyi's joy spread in his heart, a little embarrassed. Thank you. Actually, I wasn't sure it was you just now. I think you have been sitting here for a long time. Are you waiting for someone or? Hey! It's you. Suddenly, a male voice interrupted the communication between the two. Guan Ziyi turned his head and saw a boy wearing a grey-blue jacket sitting down in front of her. The visitor has fair skin, handsome features, and a wild and unrestrained eyebrows, exactly the same as the photos her father sent her. Hua Hengzi. It's me. Hua Hengzi glanced at her up and down, grinning and said, Hello, blind date. Blind date. The fan at the next table was stunned. Guan Ziyi was startled, and shook his head to her quickly. No, it's not. Not what? It doesn't seem to be good, it's not. Guan Ziyi couldn't explain it, so he simply picked up the water glass in front and took a sip of water. Forget it, she's not a big traffic guy or a first T-line actor. Who cares if she doesn't date each other or get married? And Hua Hengzi suddenly realized something. He lowered his voice. I heard that you are an actor, so should we keep a low profile about this matter? Guan Ziyi raised his eyes from the water glass and glared at him. Is it a bit late to say this? Hua Hengzi was stunned by her stare. He had just returned from abroad, so he was not familiar with the people in the domestic entertainment industry. When I saw Guan Ziyi's photo from my family a few days ago, the girl was so cute, but now she is stared at by her real person. It's really too cute, with big eyes, round face, and delicate porcelain doll appearance. No wonder you can be an actor. However, the age looks very small. I'm sorry, there is a traffic jam on the road, so I am late. Hua Hongzi didn't feel apologetic, and the young master made people wait without any guilt. Hiss. Honestly, are you really 24? It's just a few months away. Guan Ziyi finished speaking in a low voice. Then what? I don't blame you for coming late. I know you were forced by your family too. So let's see, and the task is counted. Finished, let's go. Hua Hongzi said. Hey? But I haven't eaten the rice yet. Guan Ziyi really doesn't want to have this blind date under the gaze of fans. I have something suddenly, should we make it up next time? That's it. Then, it's okay. Guan Ji agreed, turned his head to say hello to the fan, and immediately walked out. Walk fast. Hua Hongzi looked at her back with a dumbfounded look. He really didn't want to come to a blind date, so he arrived late on purpose. But how unattractive he is, this girl looked more unhappy than he was. The restaurant is very large. After Guan Ziyi got down from the upper floor, he walked along the aisle towards the door. She walked a little fast, and when she turned a bend in the aisle, she happened to collide with two men who were coming up. She pressed the brim of her hat and didn't look at the person on the other side. She said she was sorry, and she was about to slip over. She slipped halfway, and the back collar was suddenly pinched. The throat was immediately jammed by the jacket. She was stunned, stretched out her hand to pull the neckline, but when she raised her hand to touch the neckline, she was taken back. Guan Ziyi raised his head in surprise, and finally saw his slightly angry gaze from inside the brim of his hat. But when she saw the person in front of her, her anger was like a plume of smoke, chirped and disappeared. She didn't expect to meet Guan Yuanbei here. This is her own brother, because she hasn't been home for a long time, and she hasn't seen his brother for a long time. Seeing him in a very formal suit at the moment, he probably just came out of the company for a meal or something. Why are you here? Guan Yuanbei asked, frowning. It seems that my brother didn't know that she was urged by her father to come out for a blind date. Guan Ziyi pulled away his hand holding his collar, and took a step back in a slanderous manner. Just about to explain, his eyes suddenly fell on the person next to Guan Yuanbei. She was stunned when she saw her. The man was wearing a black suit, but he didn't wear a tie, and he unbuttoned a button at the collar of his shirt casually. He looked not as serious as her brother, but he had a restrained and noble feeling. When Guan Ziyi looked at him, he was also looking back at her. The light in the Western restaurant is dim, and the dim light falls on his face, seeming to give him a layer of light, and it seems to cover his clear eyes with a layer of veil. Especially a good-looking man. Moreover, unfamiliar and familiar. After a few seconds, Guan Ziyi's heart was shaken. She hurriedly glanced at Guan Yuanbei, and pointed to the man next to him in surprise. Brother, he. Before Guan Yuanbei answered, the man chuckled lightly. Very shallow laughter, deep and sweet, calm and relaxed. With a smile, the light gauze under the man's eyes seemed to disperse. In the next second, Guan Ziyi heard him faintly ask, Xiao Wu, who is this brother? The author has something to say. New article, 300 red packets distributed in the front row too. Thank you all for coming again. This is probably a story of a young lady who has money in her family but she is very poor. The Guan family has a good reputation in the imperial capital. When Guan Ziyi's grandfather Guan Hong established the Guan group here, his resolute methods and decisions now seem to be textbook-like examples. After decades of development, Guan's is now a leader in many industries, and its strength should not be underestimated. Guan Hong is now old and retired to the second line. Now Guan is operating under the hands of his children and grandchildren. He has 3 sons. The eldest son gave him 2 grandchildren, and the second son has a daughter. The third son gave birth to a son and a daughter, and Guan Ziyi was that daughter. There are 3 older brothers and 1 older sister in front of her, who are ranked 5th at home, so relatives in the family have always called her from a young age. But apart from relatives, almost no one would call her that. Apart from... Why, I haven't seen him in a few years, and I still don't recognize people. The man smiled slightly, his eyes deep as a pool. Guan Ziyi stared at him blankly for a few seconds, and the clear joy and inexplicable grievance in his heart immediately surged when he realized who was in front of him. She naturally recognized the person in front of her. Qi Chenjun, someone she has known since she remembered. He is a good friend of her brother and the one who watched her grow up. I remember that when she was young, Qi Chenjun liked to tease her like this: is it going to be Guan Yuanbei or his brother? Guan Yuanbei was strict with her when she was young, and Qi Chenjun always took her to eat delicious and fun things every time she saw her, so she naturally said that she wanted him to be her brother instead of Guan Yuanbei. It's been 8 years, and Qi Chenjun left the country when she was still in the 3rd year of junior high school, very suddenly. And she would be sad for a long time after she heard that he would not come back. It was almost forgotten. But with a single sentence, he seems to have pulled back all his previous memories. My brother is you, are you, back? Guan Ziyi asked. I still know the name, I seem to remember it. Qi Chenjun glanced at her, I'm back. I haven't seen you in a few years, and you look the same. Guan Ziyi, nothing, I have grown taller. It's just a little bit longer. Guan Ziyi widened his eyes slightly. She doesn't know if she has changed, but Qi Chenjun is definitely different from a few years ago. If the Huahengzi that I saw just now gave people the breath of a big boy, then Qi Chenjian's first impression was the opposite of that of Huahengzi. He was a fully mature man. I haven't said why you are here, come to eat alone? Guan Yuanbei asked at this time. Guan Ziyi shook his head, no, there is another person. With whom? Just, friend. Guan Ziyi didn't want to tell the truth anymore. She suddenly felt embarrassed to say that she was on a blind date in front of Qi Chenjun. However, when she finished saying that, she heard Huahengzi's voice ringing behind. Brother Cheng Yan. You are here today. Guan Ziyi turned her head and saw Huahengzi walking over with a surprised look. Why are you all standing here, Ziyi? You know my cousin too. Cousin? What a coincidence. Guan Ziyi's mouth twitched slightly, I know. Yes, brother, you used to be nice with their family in China. Huahengzi reached out and hooked Qi Chenjian's shoulder, I don't need an introduction, brother, this is my blind date. What? What? Qi Chenjun and Guan Yuanbei turned to look at Huahengzi at the same time. Huahengzi didn't realize there was something wrong, and said directly, yes, didn't I tell you 2 days ago, my mother asked me to go on a blind date. Little 5. Guan Yuanbei took a breath, his voice a little heavy. Guan Ziyi looked at Guan Yuanbei's eyes, and she blinked and whispered, what are you doing looking at me like this? Dad arranged it. Dad? Yes, if you don't believe me, just ask. Guan Yuanbei frowned. He knew that his father had been deliberately arranging a suitable object for Guan Ziyi so that she could take care of her, but he didn't expect to have this object so soon. Guan Yuanbei glanced at Huahengzi. He had never seen him, but he had heard of his cousin, the only son of the Hua family, Huahengzi from Qi Chenjun. His wealth background is fine, but he doesn't know his character. Aren't you Guan Yuanbei? Huahengzi kept in mind that his family wanted him to deal with the Guan family. Seeing this, he quickly stretched out his hand, hello, brother Yuanbei. I have been admiring the name for a long time. Guan Yuanbei was unhappy, but he still gave some face on the surface, and he reached out and shook Huahengzi, yet. Xiaoyu has reached the age of going on a blind date. Qi Chenjun said, feeling very emotional. Guan Ziyi was embarrassed, it's not, it's just that my dad is more anxious. Isn't I the age of a blind date? Huahengzi said, brother, you are a few years older than me. You are not married, so why is it my turn? Qi Chenjun glanced at him with a slightly serious expression. Isn't it because you don't have a positive shape with your uncle? I'm very serious. Okay. Okay, are you two finished eating now? Guan Ziyi was afraid that Hua Hongzi said he hadn't eaten, so he immediately said, it's finished. Hua Hongzi, ah. I've eaten it, I'm planning to go home. Oh, by the way, did you drive? Give me a ride. You didn't drive by yourself. Qi Chenjun glanced at Guan Ziyi after he finished speaking. It was obvious that he meant that he didn't even want to send someone home when he came out for dinner with the girl. Hua Hongzi couldn't receive the signal, and said straightforwardly, I had an appointment to play with a friend and asked him to pick me up, but he let me go. Qi Chenjun, what about Xiaohu? Guan Ziyi, me? I'll go back by myself. Didn't drive. What kind of car she drives, she will panic on the road. Guan Yuanbei said. Qi Chenjun smiled, well, take my car, I'll take you back. Guan Ziyi looked at her brother. Qi Chenjun raised her eyebrows slightly, reached out and tapped her forehead. Your brother will have something to send you later. What's the matter, can't I send you? The familiar movements are exactly the same as when I was young. Guan Ziyi touched his forehead, and for a moment he felt that the sense of familiarity had returned. Of course it does. She was startled. Then go out. Guan Yuanbei did have to go to socialize. After going out, he drove his car. Hua Hongzi and Guan Ziyi followed Qi Chenjun to his car. Hua Hongzi walked to the passenger seat and wanted to open the door, but Qi Chenjun pulled it open. Sit back. Hua Hongzi just wanted to complain, but in a blink of an eye he saw the little girl following Qi Chenjun, and the gentleman's demeanor was resurrected. Yes, yes, ladies first, please sit down. Guan Ziyi said thank you, and got into the co-pilot. Where to live? Qi Chenjun asked after the car hit the road. Guan Ziyi said the address, and then saw Qi Chenjun enter the navigation. Hasn't come back for so many years, is he a little strange to this city? Guan Ziyi glanced at him secretly. Qi Chenjian's profile has sharp edges and corners and beautiful lines. Under the lights in the car, it is cold and soft. She thought that he would feel strange. The city has changed a lot in the past 7 or 8 years, with tall buildings and numerous roads. It has long been different from its original appearance. What are you looking at? Suddenly, Qi Chenjun glanced at her sideways and asked with a faint smile. Guan Ziyi immediately retracted his gaze. It's nothing, it just feels a bit magical. I didn't expect you to come back, brother, I thought you would not come back. Qi Chenjun held the steering wheel and looked ahead. Probably there is more room for development in China in the past 2 years. So you are going to stay in China forever? It is undeniable that Guan Ziyi was happy to hear such words. Because no matter what, Qi Chenjun was a very close person to her when she was a child, and Guan Yuanbei couldn't compare to him in her heart back then. Listen to your brother, you have been filming for the past 2 years. Guan Ziyi, yet. Your dad and your brother don't like you being an actor, right? I don't like it. Guan Ziyi was a little unhappy about this. I didn't let them like it, I just like it myself. Qi Chenjun seemed to smile again, as stubborn as when I was a child. No, I really like it. Both my father and brother don't support me. But it doesn't matter. I don't need their support. Anyway, I just take care of myself. Very ambitious. Qi Chenjun was indifferent when he spoke. At first hearing it would make people feel a little careless and indifferent, but Guan Ziyi knows that he has always spoken like this. Others are not cold, at least when she was a child he thought he was very gentle and gentle. But I'm alone in that circle, so it's not easy to go. Guan Ziyi was stunned. Hey! I think your dad and your brother are doing it deliberately, wanting you to retreat when you are in trouble. Unexpectedly, Qi Chenjun could see through it at a glance, and Guan Ziyi said, I don't know how difficult it is to retreat. I want to advance bravely. Ziyi, you have a good attitude. I'm exactly the same as you, so I don't want to retreat. Hua Hongzi in the back seat leaned her head up, besides, you are so cute and beautiful. Red is a matter of time. Qi Chenjun glanced at him in the rear-view mirror, sit down. Hua Hongzi blinked, oh, and sat back obediently. After half an hour, Guan Ziyi's community arrived. Qi Chenjun parked the car on the side of the road, and Guan Ziyi pushed the door down. Pay attention to safety. Qi Chenjun said. Guan Ziyi leaned over and beckoned him, yet. Then, goodbye, brother. Qi Chenjun nodded. Hua Hongzi pressed the window, I know, goodbye. Guan Ziyi's gaze fell from Qi Chenjun to Hua Hongzi, goodbye. Let's contact WeChat, and we will have dinner appointments or watch movies next time. Guan Ziyi laughed dryly, okay. With that, he turned and walked towards the community. After her figure disappeared completely, Qi Chenjun restarted the car. At this time, Hua Hongzi had moved from the back seat to the co-pilot. Hey brother, I remember Grandpa said before that you also deliberately involved in the domestic entertainment industry. Will you do something when you come back this time? Ask so much, what do you want to participate in? Just participate, I'm busy. Hua Hongzi said, I just want to say that if you have any good resources in the future, let me help Ziyi, and I will treat her better, and then I can get closer to the Guan family. Do you think you go to support Xiaohu, their family will appreciate you? I don't want them to be grateful, I just express my feelings. Qi Chenjun, don't do these useless tasks. Their family is pulling her out. You still want to push her in. Qi Chenjun knows how dissatisfied Guan Yuanbei and his father are about Guan Ziyi's work, and he also feels that Guan Ziyi will not stay here for long. That little girl has been spoiled since she was a child, and without the help of her father and brother, how much real suffering can she eat? Being so firm now means being young and energetic. Qi Chenjun held the steering wheel and suddenly asked, do you really like Xiaohu? Why do you all call her Xiaohu? This is her nickname? It's quite interesting. Hua Hongzi smiled, but I can't just say how much I like it when I first meet, but this girl is very smart. Don't mess around if you don't like it. How to call chaotic? I didn't chaotic, just make an appointment, and then. Before finishing speaking, Qi Chenjun took a cold look. Hua Hongzi choked and said in a low voice, this is the process of falling in love. Qi Chenjun withdrew his gaze, I watched Xiaowu grow up. I will clean up you first if you mess around. I know. Hua Hongzi buckled up his seatbelt unhappily, and muttered, why did you turn your elbow outside? I'm your brother. The author has something to say, there are also 300 red envelopes under this chapter, remember to leave a message. After returning home, Guan Ziyi took off his coat and sat on the sofa for a while. Qi Chenjian's return made her surprised and delighted. In addition to the pleasant surprise, the memories of her childhood also turned back in her mind with the appearance of people. Qi Chenjun used to live next to their home, and the family has a good relationship. Moreover, he and her brother Guan Yuanbei have been classmates since elementary school, and they grew up together. Because of this, Guan Ziyi is very close to Qi Chenjun. When she was young, she loved to run behind them, and every time she was taught by Guan Yuanbei, she would hide behind Qi Chenjun. Because she was 6 years old, she always diverged from them when she went to school. They went to junior high school as soon as they started elementary school, and they went to college after junior high school. However, although they do not have the same school, Qi Chenjun often responds to Guan Yuanbei's busyness and comes to the school to pick her up. She likes him to come and pick her home the most, because Guan Yuanbei does not allow her to eat outside food, but if she pesters Qi Chenjun, he will relentlessly buy her. Guan Ziyi is a little funny when he thinks of his rogue appearance when he was a child. Ding dong, at this moment, the doorbell rang suddenly. Guan Ziyi returned to God, got up and opened the door. At this time, the only people who could ring her doorbell were the people opposite her house. Sure enough, after opening the door, her good friend Song Qiafei appeared behind the door. Puff, Song Qiafei held up the tray in his hand. Come on. Try one. Guan Ziyi glanced at it. You did it. Yeah, I have made cookies for a long time. Here is one for you. The freshly baked biscuits have a strong flavor. Guan Ziyi sniffed, forced himself to look away from the tray, and then resolutely said, I seem to have gained a lot recently, and I have to lose weight. Song Qiafei rolled her eyes. Lose weight, lose fat, everyone has their own lives, no matter how thin and beautiful, those characters are not yours. Song Qiafei first debuted from the same girl group as Guan Ziyi, and later they became actors together. From then to now, Song Qiafei is just like Guan Ziyi, in a worrisome acting career. Guan Ziyi, what do you mean? Hey, it means that I have reduced to a supermodel figure, but what's the use? I can't take the role of VC. Guan Ziyi was stunned. Did you say that this drama was stable last time? I can slap my face. Anyway, I was taken away by the daughter of a classmate of Mr. Zhao's friend in our company. In this world, a little background is king. Song Qiafei took a quick cookie and threw it in his mouth. I've been mixed for so long and I'm still an 18th line, and I can't touch a good script. Is it time to consider changing careers? Guan Ziyi choked and took the half of the biscuit left in her hand. Don't say that. Facts. Guan Ziyi took a bite of the biscuit and said vaguely, if you like it, you have to continue. That also has to make money. Song Qiafei said melancholy, tisk. Do you really want to climb up the bed of the CEOs, hook up with the boss or something? Guan Ziyi snorted, Comrade Xiao Song, there must be no evil thoughts. But even if there are really, you don't necessarily want you. Song Qiafei laughed angrily, Guan Ziyi. Just kidding, kidding, what? Give me a few more biscuits, they are delicious. To be honest, what Song Qiafei said is also reasonable. Acting is a good dream for her, but life is also to be lived. At the beginning, she vowed to say that she did not rely on her family to support herself, but it was not a joke, but she had to make money to support herself. Think about it's been almost half a year since she came out of the last crew, and she didn't receive a script. She asked for money for rent and travel equipment, and she didn't have much money left in her pocket. After closing the door, Guan Ziyi sat back on the sofa, eating biscuits while worrying. But just after eating one piece, the agent Lu Yun called in. Guan Ziyi was shocked when he saw the caller ID, and immediately pushed away the remaining cookies. Hello, hello. She hurriedly answered the phone. What are you doing? Nothing, just finished eating. Eating. Lu Yun controlled the weight of the artist under her opponent very strictly, and she immediately asked, what did you eat at night? Guan Ziyi glanced at the biscuits, boiled vegetables. It's best. Of course it is. Sister Yun, is there anything wrong with you calling? Is there a scene to find me? Oh yes, there was an invitation for a reality show recently, and the other artists in it have been confirmed. Now they may find a female artist who is not expensive. Originally, they prefer a newcomer, but I will push you out. You win. You are a bit famous and cheap, so the position is taken back. Cheap price. It's really in the middle of the Red Hearts evaluation. But Guan Ziyi really has no interest in participating in reality shows. Then, what's your name? Fuck off, fat, often for a month, truly records the diet and exercise status of each artist's life. In layman's terms, it is a weight loss and fitness program. Ah, I'm not fat enough to go to the weight loss festival. Do you think you really want to lose weight? Losing weight is only secondary. The important thing is that the audience likes watching the daily life of the stars. Lu Yun said, I know you don't like to participate in these variety shows, but Ziyi, not me, you don't. There is no traffic, and no one will come to you for filming. And it's for your good that I let you go. If you don't want to, there will be a lot of people waiting behind. Guan Ziyi knows that she is telling the truth. Indeed, nowadays, most artists relying solely on filming are no longer enough to guarantee their exposure in the public eye. And she hasn't filmed for a long time, and receiving a variety show is also an income. How about, don't want to go? Yes. I'm going. Guan Ziyi asked again at the end, is there anything that suits me in the script? The script, recently, Dawn in the Wild is still choosing a female role. Dawn in Wild? Is it the Dawn in Wild I know? Zhang Xiaoqin's. You saw it? Of course I've read it. This book was popular when I was in college, and I really liked it. Guan Ziyi was immediately excited. Sister Yun, are there any auditions? When can I try them? Any role is fine. Guan Ziyi's own conditions are actually pretty good, but because she hadn't made much splash in the scenes she had previously filmed, new people came out of the company. So for a long time, she has been in a position where she can't be beaten, and the company has no intention of praising her. This IP was bought by our company in the early years, and it has only recently begun to attract investment and make auctions. By the way, Yai Tong is also interested in this scene. Guan Ziyi, this way. Zheng Yaitong is a relatively popular actor in their company. Although it is not the first T-line, the second line is definitely occupied. It's just that her temperament is not very good, and her eyes are above the top, which has nothing to do with people like them who are not close to Hong. Lu Yun thought for a while. In fact, there are a few places that can be arranged for our company's own people. So, tomorrow night Mr. Zhao and some investors will have a dinner. You go with me. Dinner, isn't it a trial show? You go to show your face and leave an impression. You should be more sure about the trial. Do you understand? Guan Ziyi didn't like dinner too much, it has always been the case. Ziyi? Ziyi? Ah, I'm here. I'll pick you up tomorrow night and clean up a bit. Sister Yun, that. If you want a role, follow me. Don't make so many excuses this time. It's just a meal. You didn't get cramped and skinned. What are you going back? Guan Ziyi was so awkward to be guessed that he said, I see. That's okay, hang up, wait for me on time tomorrow. Oh. After hanging up Lu Yun's phone, Guan Ziyi was a little melancholy for a moment. She was really not very good at talking and couldn't adapt to various meals. But after the melancholy, there was a burst of joy, and it was also The Court and the Wild. Not only is she a favorite novel, but it is also a big IP. There is no need for Lu Yun to say how rare this opportunity is. Anyway, it's just a meal. She shows a face to increase the probability of hits, not to lose. The next night, Guan Ziyi put on makeup for herself an hour in advance. At the appointed time, Guan Ziyi got out of the underground garage and got in the car of the agent Lu Yun. The car drove for about 40 minutes and stopped in front of a hotel. Guan Ziyi looked out and was taken aback. Nanjua 5-star hotel. She knows this hotel well, not only because it is a well-known hotel, but also because this hotel is a business under the Guan family, and the hotel industry has always been managed by Guan Yuanbei. Guan Ziyi. This is really a coincidence. What are you in a daze? Get out of the car. Lu Yun said. Good. Guan Ziyi squeezed, comforting herself, surely it wouldn't be so coincidental. Her brother knows everything, so how can he meet him here casually? After getting off the car, the doorman came to park the car, and Guan Ziyi walked inside with Lu Yun. All those who came today are prospective investors, don't talk nonsense, and behave better. Of course. Guan Ji thought, it would be better if he could just eat without talking. I know you have been free for a long time. Ziyi, as an ordinary person, we have no wealth or background. If we have the opportunity, we must be more active in grasping it. Guan Ziyi nodded like garlic, you are right. Well, go in. The meal was in a box in the hotel restaurant. When Guan Ziyi arrived, there were already many people at the table. There were 4 people she could recognize at a large table. One is Zhao Zhihui, the director of their company, and the other 3 are actors from their company, 1 man and 2 women, including Zheng Yaitong. We are late, sorry. Lu Yun changed his face extremely fast, and changed his standard entertainment face as soon as he entered the door. Guan Ziyi obediently followed her and nodded to the people present. Lu Yun is here, you are really late, you should be fined. Of course Mr. Huang. I will definitely have an extra drink later. Lu Yun brought Guan Ziyi forward, I will introduce to you first, this is the artist under my hand, Guan Ziyi. Guan Ziyi said hello everyone. Sit and sit. The person called Mr. Huang was very enthusiastic, and he moved away from his side when he got up. He joked, you are not welcome, anyway, it is your Mr. Zhao's treat today. Zhao Zhihui said, Mr. Huang, what you mean is to eat me down today? Just kidding, do you, Mr. Zhao, eat it. Everyone laughed. There were only 3 positions left, one would definitely not be able to sit on the opposite side, and the other Lu Yun was sitting, and Guan Ziyi could only sit in the position pulled apart by President Huang. But after sitting down, she glanced at the seat opposite, which was next to Mr. Zhao and was the seat of the box. Why is the theme empty? She was thinking like this in her heart. Lu Yun had already asked her out, Mr. Zhao, are people not here? Zhao Zhihui said, wait a minute, it should be almost there. Lu Yun nodded, then sat down and whispered to Guan Ziyi, it looks like a big man will arrive tonight. The author has something to say, who is late? There are 302 points in the front row of this chapter and red envelopes. What a big shot! Otherwise, I wouldn't have been sitting for so long without asking for a dish except cold dishes. But Guan Ziyi couldn't control that much, so she just brushed her face according to Lu Yun's will, obediently greeted in a circle, and then just sat quietly and listened. And in everyone's exchanges, she also learned that the male lead of the play Dawn and the Wild has been decided. The male lead is Li Xian, who is famous for his acting skills. Li Xian is actually only 30 years old, but he made his debut at the age of 17 or 18, and he has relatively advanced qualifications. In addition to acting as Li Xian, Xia Ran, a new generation of normalizing traffic in the past 2 years, has also joined the government. After this lineup is set, the show is half of the fire, so naturally there are many artists who want to join the group. It seems that what Yaitong wants is the role of the queen. Lu Yun said. Guan Ziyi nodded, and immediately matched the number. Morning and Wild is not an absolute heroine because it is a leading male lead, but in the novel, there are 3 female characters that stand out. One is the queen of the protagonist, the other is the sister of the protagonist, and the other is a female official. In Guan Ziyi's impression, relatively speaking, most of the scenes in the novel are queens, and this is a particularly powerful character. No wonder Zheng Yaitong wants it. I mean, you are going to fight for the role of Princess Zhao Yang, the hero's sister, what do you think? Lu Yun said. Guan Ziyi, of course you can. Lu Yun glanced at her unexpectedly, I thought you would reject this kind of cute and detached character now. After all, the one that was being broadcast was sold miserably, silly and sweet. Guan Ziyi smiled, no, I like this character very much. Princess Zhao Yang is really cute and playful, but anyone who has read the novel will know that Zhao Yang is not just that. You also belong to an artist? I don't seem to have seen you before, newcomer. She was drinking something when suddenly someone asked her something. Guan Ziyi quickly put down the cup and looked at Mr. Huang's Yun next to him, I'm not a newcomer, but I don't have many scenes. You may not have an impression of Mr. Huang. How can such a cute little girl make less filming? She has just debuted. Mr. Huang looked at her with a smile. Guan Ziyi said in embarrassment, that's actually 4 or 5 years. It's been so long. Mr. Huang said, you are a child star. No, the first scene I shot in my freshman year. It's been a year since I graduated. It's not a child star. Mr. Huang looked surprised and patted Guan Ziyi's shoulder meaningfully, looking so young, I thought I was under 18 years old, ha ha ha. Guan Ziyi smiled dryly and moved a little to Lu Yun's side. But later, Huang Xian kept catching her to talk. Just when Guan Ji was thinking about when the embarrassing and unnutritious topic between the two would end, the sound of opening the door came from behind him. Then, Guan Ziyi saw Zhao Zhihui stand up, walked around from his position and walked towards the door. It's rare to see Zhao Zhihui so diligent. Who is it? Guan Ziyi turned her head to look at the door of the box, but when her eyes touched the person who entered the door, she was stunned. The person entering the door was dressed in a long black coat, with a tall body and a detached smile on his face. He was not alone, but the people behind him helped him take off his coat and walked out silently. After the coat was taken off, it was a deep navy blue suit, and there was still a white shirt underneath. But it was different from last time. This time he wore a tie. There were more people in his whole body, and he looked very savory. The person didn't notice her at once. After Zhao Zhihui walked over to shake hands with him, he nodded slightly, that handsome face seemed to make people feel close. A few seconds later, his eyes looked at the dining table, and Guan Ziyi almost turned his head back at that moment. She stared at the dinner plate in front of her, shaking her heart. She never expected that she would meet Qi Chenjun during the dinner in this business. And looking at Zhao Zhihui's appearance, he seemed to be familiar with him. What is he here for? Guan Ziyi thought about whether to at that moment, but after calming down, he felt nothing. In Qi Chenjian's position, it is not surprising to know these investors. It is not surprising that she appears here as an actor of an artist. As long as the two of them pretend not to know each other. Thinking of this, Guan Ziyi quickly took out his mobile phone to send him a message, but before opening the WeChat account, Lu Yun took a picture. When are you still playing with your mobile phone? Focus on it, Lu Yun said in a low voice. It turned out to be Qi Chenjun, no wonder. Guan Ziyi lowered his head. Sister Yun, do you know? I heard that the Qi family intends to enter the entertainment industry. I didn't expect to see Qi Chenjun so soon. You probably didn't know him when he came back from abroad. This person has a great reputation in the market. He is very powerful. He appears here today. Is it possible that he is also interested in the drama The Court and the Wild? Guan Ziyi didn't hear things outside the window. He didn't know these gossips, and he didn't hear Qi Chenjun talk about it last time. Lu Yun, let the phone down, and when there is a chance, I have to say a few words with people. It's okay to have a familiar face. Oh. Qi Chenjun sat down in the always empty seat amidst everyone's diligence. At this time, Zhao Zhihui asked the waiter to notify the serving. I'm sorry that something happened temporarily, so everyone has been waiting for a long time. Qi Chenjun opened his mouth, slowly taking care of it. He may not be really embarrassed, but his voice is comfortable to listen to. Zhao Zhihui immediately said, Why, we have just arrived, and we haven't waited long. Qi Chenjun smiled, Mr. Zhao, sit down, don't stand. Oh, good. After Zhao Zhihui sat down, he immediately introduced someone to him, President Qi, this is our artist Zhang Yitong. Zhao Zhihui deliberately placed Zhang Yitong in a position next to Qi Chenjun, as did Zhang Yitong, who had been very quiet before and didn't talk to others. After Zhao Zhihui's introduction, she raised a very bright smile, Hello, my name is Zhang Yitong. One sentence and one look is completely different from when they introduced themselves to others. Obviously, she came with a purpose tonight. But Qi Chenjun just nodded slightly and said hello. Zhao Zhihui's meaningful eyes and Zhang Yitong looked at each other for a second, and then naturally began to introduce the next one. There are about a dozen people at a table, and Zhao Zhihui's introduction will have to talk about her sooner or later. Guan Ziyi took a deep breath, put down the hand that was pretending to scratch his forehead, and raised the lowered head. Qi Chenjun did not immediately notice Guan Ziyi, because when someone introduced him, he would also pay attention to that person politely. However, when the 2 or 3 people of Guan Ziyi were approaching, Qi Chenjun glanced at him, his eyes suddenly paused. Then, his gaze fell on the familiar face naturally. Guan Ziyi's heart tightened when he saw his eyes fall on her, and when he was nervous, he blinked vigorously at him. Half astonished and half suspicious, but Qi Chenjun digested it in an instant, and only a smile was left. Guan Ziyi coughed slightly and shook his head. The corners of Qi Chenjian's mouth were torn down extremely lightly. President Qi, this is also our company, Guan Ziyi. Zhao Zhihui just gave a brief introduction, and then he will continue to walk down. However, Qi Chenjun, who had not spoken, suddenly leaned forward. Guan Ziyi. Zhao Zhihui paused. Hey? Yes, Guan Ziyi, company actor. Zhang Yitong frowned slightly. With a perfunctory smile on Guan Ziyi's face, his heart began to become nervous. What do you tell her to do? Didn't he understand her meaning? Well, it's good. Just when Guan Ziyi thought what would happen to Qi Chenjun, he looked at the person next to her. This is Mr. Huang. Oh yes, hello, President Qi. The bosses went to business gossip. Guan Ziyi quietly breathed a sigh of relief, but fortunately, he didn't mean to know her. But just now, did he deliberately scare her? Toasting and drinking, after Qi Chenjun arrived, the meal really began. Everyone drank a lot in the intersecting time. Ziyi, come, let me have a drink with you. President Huang suddenly pointed the finger at her. Guan Ziyi quickly picked up the wine glass and touched him. Mr. Huang, I should be my respect. Don't say toasting, let's drink. Mr. Huang turned his head to look at her, the eyes behind the lenses were flushed with the smell of alcohol. Guan Ziyi twitched the corners of his mouth and drank the contents of his cup. Qi Chenjun paid attention to Ziyi from time to time, but he knew that the little girl didn't want to behave like they knew him, so he just followed her. He just frowned when she saw her drinking the glass of red wine. Do you know how to drink? When Zhao Zhihui looked sideways, he just saw Qi Chenjian's gaze fall to the opposite side. He followed his gaze and chuckled softly. The taste of President Huang has never changed. I am sad that it is pure and lovely. Today is called Zhizi. Sure enough, Yula is still right. Zhao Zhihui also drank too much, so he talked more promiscuously and casually. But what he didn't expect was that as soon as he finished speaking, the face of the person beside him sank. Zhao Zhihui was taken aback for a moment. President Qi. Huang Xun on the opposite side was obviously already drunk, and after he became more interested, he would go to drink the wine for 3 times. Guan Ziyi had toasted and drank some before being persuaded by Huang Xun to drink 2 more glasses. She knew the bottom line of her drinking capacity, so she refused to drink it now. Mr. Huang, I will really get drunk if I drink it, or I will replace the bar with tea. That's not okay, are you not giving me face? What's the strength of drinking tea? But come on, just 1 cup, the last one. Lu Yun also blocked her. Mr. Huang, we know that the amount of alcohol is really average, so I will come to this cup. What are you here? Huang Xun's tone suddenly fell cold. There is not much noise here, but everyone at the table is looking over. The actors are helpless and indifferent, and the upper class watch the play with no surprises. Lu Yun smiled slightly embarrassed. She couldn't make Guan Ziyi too drunk, but she didn't dare to offend Huang Xun. She glanced at Guan Ziyi. hesitated for a moment, and had to signal her to drink this cup as the last one, and deal with Huangxian. Guanzi was helpless, took a deep breath, and slowly stretched out his hand. Guanzi. At this moment, a voice came from the opposite side. The box was a little quiet at this time, so the sound was very obvious. Everyone was startled, and all of a sudden they looked at the person who spoke. Then, they saw Qi Chenjun, who was kind and cheerful all night, sharpening his eyebrows, and slowly said, "Come here." The author has something to say. In the early stage, he was a master of sister pets, and in the later stage, look again. After one night, Qi Chenjun and Guanzi did not have the slightest overlap. On the contrary, those present could tell that Zhao Zhihui deliberately arranged for Zhang Yitong to accompany Qi Chenjun. But no one thought that Qi Chenjun suddenly called Guanzi. Guanzi herself was dumbfounded. She looked at him in astonishment, but when she saw his eyes, she suddenly reacted. This is exactly the same as what she did when she was a child, and the look in his eyes when she was caught. Guanzi immediately released his hand holding the wine glass. After Lu Yun looked around between Qi Chenjun and Guanzi, he stretched out his hand and pulled Guanzi's clothes, and said in a low voice, "What a daze, it's not over." Guanzi got up hesitantly, and moved towards him while asking with his eyes. Qi Chenjun didn't give her any response, but when Guanzi walked to his side, he smiled slightly at Huangxian. "Mr. Huang, I have watched this Miss Guan's TV series, and suddenly remembered that I had some questions to ask." "I'm bothering you to drink, don't you mind?" The fierceness on his face has been reduced, but the tone still makes people feel oppressive. Huangxian didn't dare to mind, and said quickly, No, just say what you have." Unexpectedly, President Qi has watched Ziyi TV series. Having said that, no one at the scene really believed it. Don't say that Qi Chenjun will watch Guanzi's silly and sweet idol dramas. Even if he really knows, there will be any questions to ask. Obviously, it was just looking for an excuse. The faces of the people present were different for a while, and Zhao Zhihui was also stupid. He did not expect that Qi Chenjun was not interested in Zhang Yitong, but was interested in Guanzi. "Miss Zhang, don't know if Fang is inconvenient to change positions." Qi Chenjun looked at Zhang Yitong beside him. Zhang Yitong's face changed again and again, and finally stood up forcibly, "Of course. Thanks." Guanzi sat down beside Qi Chenjun in the eyes of everyone in surprise or admiration. "Come, Mr. Huang, I'll toast you a cup." Zhao Zhihui started to instigate the atmosphere again in order to avoid being cold. Although the others present were amazed at Qi Chenjun and Guanzi, they didn't dare to look at them, and they talked and laughed and chatted with others. "Did you drink too much?" Qi Chenjun asked after seeing that everyone was not looking at them. Presumably to prevent others from hearing their conversation, he leaned to her side when he asked, and his voice was very low. Guanzi looked at his profile and shook his head slightly, "It's okay." Qi Chenjun became a little serious, "My face is red, and I dare to say it's okay." Guanzi didn't say a word. "What do you want to do on this occasion?" Guanzi was afraid that he would misunderstand him, so he said quickly, "My agent brought me here. I just show my face and want to go to the show next time." "Do you want to enter the court in the wild?" "Yeah." Guanzi said curiously, "How about you?" "My agent said you want to invest." "Possible." "Oh. Be careful in the future, whether it's just to show your face for a meal, or something else." Guanzi touched his cheek, knowing what Qi Chenjun meant in his heart. In fact, when Huangxian kept asking her to drink, and her hands and feet started to be irregular, she already felt unwell. Guanzi was a little embarrassed, and the hand under the table secretly pulled Qi Chengyan's sleeve, then, "Don't tell him." "Yuan Bai." Qi Chenjun glanced at her, "Are you still afraid of being nagged by him? Afraid of him being angry?" Indeed, let alone Guan Yuanbei will be angry, even he is a little angry. Guan Ziyi grew up under his nose since he was a child, and he treated her like his sister, so he can fully understand Guan Yuanbei's feelings if he saw this scene at this time. Where is she that these messy people can move? Sit down, don't touch the wine at all. Qi Chenjun said. Guan Ziyi nodded. Qi Chenjun saw her sitting peacefully, and then continued to talk to others. After another half an hour, Qi Chenjun was about to leave. Zhao Zhihui stepped forward and offered the last glass of wine. President Qi, then I hope we have a chance to cooperate. Naturally. Qi Chenjun nodded slightly to the others in the room after saying, drink everybody, I'll leave first. You go well, you go well. The crowd got up diligently, but only one person was still sitting firmly. Qi Chenjun took a step and turned back. What are you in a daze? The crowd followed Qi Chenjian's direction and looked towards Guan Ziyi. Guan Ziyi was a little sleepy because of the alcohol, and when he raised his eyes, he saw the eyes of a room of people falling on his face. She froze for a moment, and slowly looked at Qi Chenjun. Are you talking to me? Qi Chenjun smiled faintly. Didn't Ms. Guan just say that she has something to leave? It's just one piece. There was silence. Guan Ziyi coughed softly and looked at Lu Yun on the opposite side. Her expression was obviously asking her own agent for the meaning, but Lu Yun was probably shocked, and she forgot to speak for a while. Speaking of which, there are many artists under her hand. Guan Ziyi is not the one she loves at all. For a long time, she felt that this girl seemed soft but too principled. She thought that she did not have the consciousness to go out and the courage to break the boat. But now, when did Guan Ziyi actually have a kick with Qi Chenjun? That's Qi Chenjun. Even Zheng Yaitong, who has a family background so good that he can bring money to join the group, will move forward. When will this tepid artist of her family take a different look? Sister Yun, shall I go now? Guan Ji said that she hadn't said anything, thinking she didn't agree, so she asked to confirm. How can Lu Yun dare to keep someone? After recovering, he immediately said, okay, then, call me when you get home. Guan Ziyi's eyes lit up. Yet. Whether you will get home or who will you get there, everyone is clear about it. Guan Ziyi didn't think so much, she didn't want to stay anymore and be forced to drink. Guan Ziyi followed Qi Chenjun out of the box door. After the door was closed, everyone looked different. Zhao Zhihui and Lu Yun looked at each other and saw the flow of money and benefits in their eyes. Huang Xian's expression turned cold, but he was obviously afraid to say anything. Today he fell in love with Guan Ziyi, but who knows that Cheng Yaijin was out in the middle. Zheng Yaitong's complexion was even worse. She originally didn't want to attend the dinner today, but then she heard that Qi Chenjun would come, so she asked Zhao Zhihui to arrange it. She didn't come here for any role at all, because that role was originally hers. She will come today just to get a relationship with Qi Chenjun, but she didn't expect to be cut off by someone she had never seen before. After walking out of the box, Qi Chenjian's assistant came up. He glanced at Guan Ziyi, and put his coat on Qi Chenjun. Will you often go out to eat with your agent? Qi Chenjun asked. Guan Ziyi shook his head. I did it once before, but after that time Sister Yun stopped taking me. She thought I couldn't speak, but I didn't want to go. Not too stupid. Guan Ziyi touched his nose. It's also because of, cough, I really want this role. Which? Zhao Yang. Guan Ziyi said after he finished, you probably don't know that. Qi Chenjun raised his eyebrows slightly, I really don't know. Xiao Wu, do you want to help? Qi Chenjun stopped and turned to look at her. Guan Ziyi raised his eyes and glanced at him directly, it's strange that you will help me. The corner of Qi Chenjian's mouth bent slightly, how do you know what happened tonight plus you follow me out now, the people inside already thought I was facing you. Guan Ziyi felt a little embarrassed when thinking of the thoughts in the people inside. But she knew very well that Qi Chenjun was only helping her out, but when it comes to helping her walk through the back door to get a role, he wouldn't do it. It's not that he is incapable, but that he is unwilling. If you help me, it will be bad if my brother finds out. Qi Chenjun nodded and agreed. Indeed, there are still many places to ask your brother for help after returning to China. Will this offend him? Fart. It's just a united front with others. Guan Ziyi felt disgusted in his heart, but his face was obediently said, I don't need to help. It's mine or mine. It's not mine or I'm not qualified enough. And I vowed before them that I don't need others to help me. Yes, I can't slap myself in the face. Qi Chenjun was silent. Do you really like it that much? I like it. Guan Ziyi said seriously, very. The little girl's eyes were dazzling, as if what she was saying was her most precious thing. For a moment, Qi Chenjun felt softened. He didn't know how Guan Yuanbei was so cruel, and he really did not ask her. Qi Chenjun was silent for a moment, and when he was about to say something, he suddenly saw Guan Ziyi's serious expression turning into a panic expression. Me, my brother. She immediately hid behind him. Qi Chenjun followed her gaze and saw a group of people walking out at the corner of the corridor. Guan Yuanbei was walking at the forefront. At this moment, he was talking to the people next to him. Obviously he hadn't seen them yet. Cheng, brother Cheng Yan. I'm going downstairs first. Guan Ziyi immediately went to press the elevator on the side. It was really a disadvantage. Guan Yuanbei was actually in the hotel today. She didn't want to be caught by him here, otherwise he would follow the vine and know what she was here for today. However, the elevator seemed to be against her. It stopped for a while on the first floor, but it didn't even mean to come up. Guan Ziyi was about to be spotted by Guan Yuanbei at any time, turned his head and wanted to walk to the other side of the corridor. Don't run away. As soon as he turned around, he was covered by a piece of clothing. Guan Ziyi subconsciously wanted to lift the clothes, but Qi Chenjian's voice came from the top of his head, be obedient if you don't want to be discovered, and don't talk. Guan Ziyi grabbed his clothes and whispered, isn't it easier to be discovered? Can't believe me? When you caused trouble before, when did I not help you get in front of Yuanbei's eyes? Qi Chenjian's voice was joking. The assistant next to him glanced at him, a flash of surprise in his eyes. He was brought back by Qi Chenjun from a foreign company. He has been with Qi Chenjun for so long. He has seen long-sleeved dancers in the wine bureau, has seen him stir up the situation in the business field, and has also seen him stir people in the workplace. Friendly, humble, polite. He always knew that these were largely illusions. How could a truly gentle and soft person carry a mountain as big as the Qi family? But today, facing the little girl in front of him, the assistant felt that Qi Chenjian's emotions were real. Rarely true. Cheng Yan. Guan Yuanbei had already walked over. He glanced at Qi Chenjun and looked at the person beside him who was well covered by the black coat. What are you? Qi Chenjun said calmly, and took the shoulders of the person next to him. A artist friend, it's not easy to be seen after drinking too much. After being suddenly taken over by Qi Chenjun, Guan Ziyi was completely frozen. Probably invisible, she felt that her nerves were focused on the sense of touch and smell. At the moment, the temperature around him was also his taste, familiar and scary. Don't know if his brain twitched, Guan Ziyi suddenly raised his head slightly, and the tip of his nose was close to the clothes material, and he sniffed quietly. The smell on him seems to be the same as when he was a kid. It's clear, and it smells so good that she feels at ease. His face was a little hot for no apparent reason. Guan Ziyi was stunned, and immediately lowered his head. What is she doing? When did you secretly smell the smell? Outside the coat is a completely different world. Guan Yuanbei looked at someone who was obviously a woman, with a little surprise. After all, he understands Qi Chenjun, and the woman he can protect like this must be an important person, and this posture is slightly intimate, not like just a friend. Guan Yuanbei knew it, and smiled slightly. Would you like to help? Let me ask you to take you through another channel. Qi Qingjian's move to pass the pass was to give Guan Yuanbei the illusion. Seeing that his goal was achieved, he said directly, "That's not necessary, we can go downstairs. The car is already waiting." "All right." Ding, the elevator has arrived at this time. Qi Chenjun led people into the elevator and said to Guan Yuanbei, "Go ahead." Guan Yuanbei didn't doubt that he was there, yet. The author has something to say. Guan Yuanbei's encyclopedia, a lot of great, but on the issue of his sister, Qi Chenjun has been fooled countless times since childhood. After the door closed, the elevator began to sink. Qi Chenjun glanced at Guan Ziyi, who was still afraid to move, and took off her coat. "It's so big, I'm afraid your brother's problem hasn't changed at all." Guan Ziyi snorted softly, "You also know that he has a bad temper." "Is it bad?" Qi Chenjun smiled. Guan Ziyi nodded affirmatively. Because of being bored for a while, her cheeks flushed and her hair was a little messy. Qi Chenjun looked interesting, and stretched out his hand to scare her head. "Ah, why hit me?" Seeing people's grievances, Qi Chenjun relaxed his efforts, and followed her messy hair with his fingertips. "Big star, do you want to tidy up your own appearance?" His words were teasing and his movements were very light, so the roots of his hair were only involved. Guan Ziyi looked at him, as if smelling him again. The scent brought on his sleeves was extremely light. Her heart jumped inexplicably, and she hurriedly stretched out her hand to straighten her hair. "It's okay, no one photographed me anyway." "So not confident?" "It's not that I am not confident, but I am not popular either." Guan Ziyi said, "Brother, thank you for today, next time I have a chance, I will invite you to dinner." "Well, remember." "Remember." Guan Ziyi smiled, "The elevator is here, I'll go first." And many more. "What?" Qi Chenjun asked, "Did you come with your agent just now?" "Right." "Then how do you go back by yourself now?" Take a taxi." Qi Chenjun gave her a strange look, "I will send you off." "No, if you are busy not busy, there is still time to give you this little kid." "Oh. It doesn't seem to have changed, but it seems to have changed a lot." As the car was moving on the road, the light was scattered and flickering. Guan Ziyi glanced quietly at the man next to him. At this moment, he was leaning on the back of the chair and looking out the window with his head sideways, looking a little tired. He should have drunk quite a bit tonight. Although he is not drunk, he can smell a little. In fact, she was very strange to him just now at the dinner table, and Qi Chenjun in the business field was not the big brother with a good smile in her memory. But also because of the strangeness, this made her feel a little curious. What kind of life does this person have all these years? "President Qi, here." The car stopped, and the assistant turned around and said. Guan Ziyi pushed the car door, "Then I will go first." "Okay." Qi Chenjun glanced behind her. The community was brightly lit, and there was a guard standing at the door. He let go, "Be careful, and send me a message when you get home." "Yeah. I know." Guan Ziyi got out of the car and walked towards the community. After walking a few steps, he looked back. After entering the community, she waved to this side from a distance. Qi Chenjun was amused by her, and the corners of her mouth raised slightly. The assistant glanced at him in the rear-view mirror and couldn't help but said, "Mr. Qi, is this Mr. Guan's sister?" I didn't expect to have such a good relationship with you." Qi Chenjun said, looking at the grown-up. "No wonder, I see you treat her better than your other brothers and sisters." Qi Chenjun looked down, "Really?" "Yes." Qi Chenjun didn't say anything, because that was indeed true. Except for Hua Hengzi, his relationship with his brothers who are related by blood is not very good. Especially the cousins, it is rare to maintain surface peace, so the surface relatives are naturally not as good as the petty ones like Xiao Wu. Although he had been abroad for many years because of his company and family, he couldn't get back home. But for this little girl, his memories and feelings are still very deep. After Guan Ziyi returned home, he sent news to Qi Chenjun and his agent that he was safe, and within a few minutes, the agent called directly. As soon as Guan Ziyi picked it up, Lu Yun's excited voice came from the phone, "Are you really at home?" Guan Ziyi knew what Lu Yun was thinking. She said, "Really at home, Sister Yun, don't think about it. I want to be crooked. If I want to be crooked, everyone else in the box wants to be crooked." Lu Yun said, "Anyone with a discerning eye can see that Qi Chenjun is interesting to you. Oh, in fact, we just talked about TV dramas." After a short chat, people sent me back. Guan Ziyi lied stiffly. Lu Yun pondered for a moment, and said, "It seems that Qi Chenjun is not an impatient person, he likes to seduce him." Guan Ziyi had a black line, "Sister Yun, I think it's better not to think too much." "Tisk, what do you want me to say about you?" Lu Yun said, "Now is a great opportunity in front of your eyes, you have to know to grasp it. Don't you want the role of Zhao Yang? If Qi Chenjun speaks, are you still worried about not getting this role?" "Wait. Have you mentioned this to him just now?" "Zhao Yang, I have talked about it, but..." "That's right." Lu Yun said excitedly, unexpectedly, "Ziyi, it seems that I have always underestimated you. Next week will be a trial show. There must be news from Mr. Zhao at that time." Lu Yun smiled and said, "This character will belong to us without any accident." Guan Ziyi opened his mouth, not having the heart to break Lu Yun's fantasy of breaking through the sky. So I can really go to the show next week?" "Try, why don't you try? Although you are sure now, you still have to walk the scene. We can't be too proud." "Row. Then you prepare well, and tomorrow I will send the trial playbook to you." "Okay." Lu Yun was full of confidence, not just Lu Yun. After that night, the gossip of the company spread. Zheng Yitong went up and didn't see a smiling President Qi, and in a blink of an eye he fell in love with the little-known Guan Ziyi. Now Zheng Yitong's position in the company was shaken. Guan Ziyi resources must undergo a flying change. So that big guy eats this type? The gossip, after word of mouth, became more and more outrageous. After Song Qiafei returned from the company's rehearsal room, she slammed the door of Ziyi. "My dear baby. You are really a real person without showing your face, you. Say. When did you talk to Qi Chenjun?" As soon as the door opened, she was already excited to rush forward. Guan Ziyi hurriedly took a step back. "Qiao Fei, how come you also believed in what everyone said?" Song Qiafei paused. "What does this mean? Isn't it true?" "Of course it's not true," Guan Ziyi said, "but after a few more words, everyone's brains will open up." "But everyone said so, and I met Zheng Yitong today. Someone was curious and went siping about you and Qi Chenjun. Guess what? She just got angry and left." "This kind of anger set off your incident to be extremely real." "All right, but Qi Chenjun are not what you think." Song Qiafei looked serious at Guan Ziyi, and she was immediately lost. She knew that this matter was about Ziyi and would not lie to her. "Is there any mistake? Please be happy." "What are you happy about? I almost thought you were going to be able to fly freely all the way." "Forget it, it seems that this kind of shortcut is not suitable for us at all. Let's wash and sleep." Guan Ziyi was amused by her. "You know it, don't stand at the door when you are done, come in, I just ordered a takeaway. Didn't you lose weight? Can I have a good meal occasionally?" Guan Ziyi knows that this matter does not need to be explained, because time will prove everything. In the past few days, she had been happily familiar with the script, but who would have thought that one day, Guan Ziyi received a call from her father Guan Xinghuai. After Guan Xinghuai asked her how she and Hua Hengzi were getting along, Guan Ziyi said, "This I just remembered that she still had such a thing." So she said a few perfunctory words, hung up the phone and immediately sent a message to Hua Hengzi. The two added WeChat long before the blind date, but there was no communication other than the address they exchanged on the day of the blind date. "Is it convenient for me to have a few sentences now?" Hua Hengzi quickly replied to her, "What a coincidence! I just wanted to send you a message." "Guan Ziyi, what's wrong?" Hua Hengzi didn't reply, so he threw a voice over. Guan Ziyi picked it up, "Hello. Hua Hengzi, Ziyi. That's right, my mother just called today to ask me how we are getting along." "Guan Ziyi, my dad is too." Hua Hengzi suddenly became nervous. What did you say?" "I told my mother that we were fine." "You wouldn't say that we left without eating that day, nor did you say that we didn't contact us afterwards." "No, I also said that I get along well." Hua Hengzi breathed a sigh of relief. That's good, I'm still worried about the wrong confession. I'm still worried that you said it was different." Hua Hong was very happy. "Hey, I see you are also pressed by your family. Otherwise, let's help each other and pretend to be in front of the family." Guan Ziyi hesitated. "How to pretend this?" "When my parents asked, we said we were together." "Don't worry, I know you are a public figure. We definitely don't say that to the outside world. Just give your parents peace of mind. And I know you a little bit. I don't like me, just forced by my family. As for me, I actually haven't had enough fun, and I don't even want to have a girlfriend. So if you want, we will cooperate." Guan Ziyi thought of his dad's nagging, vaguely moved. She knew that if she was dissatisfied with Hua Hengzi, it won't be long before his father can arrange for her next one. In that case, when will she be tall? She just wants to make a good film and not be disturbed. Can it work? "Yes, absolutely." Hua Hengzi said, "As long as you don't say I don't say, they will definitely believe it, and they won't force us to find the next one. Then when the time is right in the future, we can make another peaceful breakup. Ns. It's not unreasonable for you to think." "Of course. Do you agree? How about it?" Guan Ziyi struggled for a while. This is really a good way to help each other and her father won't bother her anymore. Ziyi. What? How about it?" Guan Ziyi gritted his teeth and gave it up. "Okay." Hua Hengzi said immediately, "But only the two of us know the truth about this matter, no one can tell, especially my cousin." "Why?" "If my cousin knows that I'm fooling around with this, I'm sure to stab my parents, and then we'll wear them for help." Guan Ziyi hesitated. In fact, she didn't dare to deceive Qi Chenjun, she would always be guilty in cheating him. But after thinking about it, this meeting was really forced by the family to be impossible. "Well, then we won't say anything about it." Ro. After hanging up the voice, Guan Ziyi breathed a sigh of relief, feeling that it was over for making a boyfriend. But it was a little weird in her heart. The only thing she felt improper at this time turned out to be, if Qi Chenjun knew that she and his brother were liars, would she be angry? Probably, no. Because this is not true, it's just that she played a trick to continue her own way. Guan Ziyi frowned and thought for a while. Forget it, she will explain to him in the future, I believe he can understand her. Thinking about this, Guan Ziyi put down the phone and went to the bathroom. She took a bath that night and fell asleep early. So she didn't expect that when she and Hua Hengzi had an appointment to start a fake love that no one else knew about except the family. In the evening on Weibo, there was a tag discussion that slowly increased. The tag flowed from the fan circle to the bottom of the eyes of netizens, and it became bigger and bigger. Tag is, number the author has something to say, surprise. Young actresses will even go on blind dates. Guan Ziyi has acted in several idol dramas since her debut. Some are supporting roles and some are protagonists, but because most of the dramas are street dramas, she is not well known. But she still has fans. The variety show that the girl group debuted in her early years gave her some mother fans. Later, she also participated in a reality show. Because of her sweet looks, she also attracted a lot of fans in it. The woman she met on the blind date that day was indeed her fan. After the fan returned that day, she immediately shared this amazing news with her three-dimensional sisters. Later, this matter became longer and wider in the fan circle, and the amount of reposting also increased. Guanzi has always used to mute her phone when she sleeps, so she only saw a bunch of incoming calls and WeChat messages on her phone when she woke up the next day. She was taken aback, and immediately called Lu Yun back. "Hey Sister Yun, you are early in the morning." "Guanzi." "Ah? What's the matter? You went on a blind date? Why didn't you tell me about this? And you have a blind date, then what happened to you and Qi Chenjun?" Guanzi was stunned. "How did you know that I went on a blind date? You also asked me how I knew, the whole network knows it." Guanzi was startled, and almost immediately thought of the fan he met during the blind date. In fact, she guessed at the time that she might tell others, but she changed her mind later. She was not popular, even if some part of it was known, she wouldn't be able to spread it. After all, no one was interested. The whole network, is it such an exaggeration? What do you mean, it's the fifth hottest search? What? Guanzi got up from the bed with a rousing spirit. She actually went on a hot search? Hot search on hot search is definitely not a bad thing for Murin, but she has been an artist for so long, and the first time she went on hot search because of a blind date. This is too much. Lu Yun gritted his teeth and said, "You better explain to me." Guanzi rubbed his eyes and explained, "Sister Yun, this matter, hey, this is a boy that my family has asked me to meet. I don't want to fall in love. I just go to make my family feel at ease." "Really? As for how it would spread so big, I really didn't expect it. You and Qi Chenjun, he and I are really not what you think. I see Qi Chenjian's attitude towards you that day." Lu Yun said, "Forget it, Qi Chenjun didn't say anything in advance, but the blind date must be affirmative. You are not allowed to talk about blind dates. You are just with a friend. Just have a meal, did you hear me?" "I know." After being caught by Lu Yun for training, Guanzi hung up and went to see WeChat. Sure enough, some friends in the circle also sent messages to her expressing shock. Guanzi explained it, and then lay back helplessly. She turned over, nestled in the bed and clicked on Weibo. Her name really appeared on the hot search list, and she went from 5th to 3rd. Guanzi sighed and clicked in. Then she saw a photo of herself in the Western restaurant that day, but fortunately, Hua Hengzi was mosaicked because she was an amateur. Later, she clicked on her Weibo again and commented that her fans were heartbroken to keep her. Guanzi looked funny and helpless. After a while, she simply posted a Weibo. "Relax, rest assured, love the profession of actor, will not retreat." After the blind date was posted online, there were actually discussions within the company. Regarding her and Qi Chenjun, time really proved everything. In the next 2 weeks, after Guanzi did not receive any resources about important roles and activities, the company people had huge doubts about the authenticity of the scandal. Not only that, but Lu Yun also looked desperate. "Sister Yun, don't lose your face." Guanzi followed Lu Yun after coming out of the Dawn and the Wild trial. "Lu Yun, why do you think I lose my face? What do you think? But I told you a long time ago that I have nothing to do with Qi Chenjun, you don't believe it. You dare to mention it." Guanzi hid from the side and said, "It's okay, there are still good things. For example, I have a hunch that the trial show will definitely be successful today." Speaking of today's audition, Guanzi really satisfied the audience. The director, original author, and screenwriter also gave a huge affirmation of her acting skills and appearance. Thinking of this, Lu Yun felt more comfortable, and snorted coldly, "Today you performed well. Thank you Sister Yun for the compliment. So you must cherish this opportunity." Guan Ziyi's serious face, "I will." Lu Yun stared at her big watery eyes, what he wanted to say but he didn't know what to say. Touching his forehead, he choked silently. "It's hard, it's so hard to make a lot of money from Guan Ziyi." 2 days later, the two went to Yuxing Entertainment and signed the variety show Get Out, Fat. The variety show will start recording next week, and if Magical is selected, the opportunity will be in the year after, so there is no conflict. After signing the contract, Lu Yun still had something to deal with, so Guan Ziyi came out of the office and prepared to go to the rehearsal hall to find Song Qiafei. Recently Song Qiafei has a dancing variety show, and she has been practicing dance. However, on the way to the rehearsal hall, Zheng Yitong ran into her head-on. But because she didn't know her well, she nodded slightly and wanted to walk over. But unexpectedly, Zheng Yitong stopped her. "You have nothing to do with Qi Chenjun, right?" Zheng Yitong said suddenly. Guan Ziyi looked at her, and nodded without knowing. Zheng Yitong's eyes suddenly brought a trace of contempt, and he was not polite in his words, "I know, how can you get into his eyes?" Zheng Yitong has a good family background and has a relationship with Zhao Zhihui, so he has always been above the top in Yuxing. But since that day in the box, she was stunned because of Guan Ziyi, and many people in the company were taunting her secretly, which made her hold her breath to the limit. "Of course I can't get into his eyes." Guan Ziyi didn't care at all, said, "President Qi has a high-sightedness, and you should have learned Yitong." "Zheng Yitong, what do you mean?" Guan Ziyi shook his head, "It doesn't mean anything, I just said that he has a good eye. But if it wasn't for you that day, I wouldn't have to change positions, things wouldn't be like this." Guan Ziyi pondered for a while, and said seriously, "Well, I believe it." Zheng Yitong snorted coldly, "But so are you. I thought he would take you away with you. What can you do, but people ended up hanging you directly. You are also ridiculous." Buzzing just as Guan Ziyi was about to say something, the phone vibrated suddenly. She took it out and saw that Qi Chenjian's name was displayed on the screen. She paused for a second before turning over the phone. "That's true for my ability, unlike Miss Zheng, your future is bright. Zheng Yitong's domineering company is known." Guan Ziyi didn't want to confront her at all. She smiled and said, "Since you like him so much, then I wish you an early catch-up." "What? I have something to do, I will first go away." "Hey you!" Guan Ziyi trot all the way, walking fast. Zheng Yitong was so angry that he couldn't send it anywhere. Guan Ziyi trot to the corner and confirmed that there was no one, before answering the phone. "Hello? Where is Xiaohu?" Qi Chenjian's voice came from the phone. "Guan Ziyi, I'm at Yuxing." "Qi Chenjun, what are you doing, busy?" Guan Ziyi wanted to laugh when he thought of Zheng Yitong just now. "I'm not busy, just chatting with a colleague." "Well, I happen to be not far from the artist, I will pick you up." "Hey!" Guan Ziyi said, "What are you doing?" "Your brother has an appointment for dinner, but he is still busy, let me take you with him." "His brother has an appointment for dinner?" Guan Ziyi guessed that there was nothing good, so he muttered and said, "Can I take back what I just said, I'm actually very busy." Qi Chenjun laughed lowly, "It's just eating, no one wants to train you." "Why don't I believe so? I'm here, if your brother really nags you, can't I help you keep it back?" Guan Ziyi, "Really? Really?" Qi Chenjun said, "I will arrive in 10 minutes and wait for me in the parking lot." Guan Ziyi was relieved immediately, "Oh." Qi Chenjun arrived on time, and Guan Ziyi looked for the location and license plate number he gave, and found his car. "Isn't it cold?" Qi Chenjun asked after Guan Ziyi opened the door and sat in. Guan Ziyi was really trembling with the cold when she came out of the company to the parking lot. She wore a woolen coat today, a thin one, which looked good. It's cold, but I went to the audition today and can't dress too swollen. Qi Chenjun shook his head slightly, turned around and took the blanket from the back seat, cover it. Oh! As the car started, Qi Chenjun raised the temperature inside. After his body gradually warmed up, Guan Ziyi couldn't wait to share her story with him. Brother, I went to the show 2 days ago. The Court in the Wild. Yes, I think it's quite promising. Guan Ziyi tilted his head and looked at him. The agent said that I played well, and the director and screenwriter said that my image is particularly suitable. Qi Chenjun raised his mouth slightly. It's amazing, do I need to give some rewards? Qi Chenjian's voice was shallow and faint, full of indulgent taste in the cold. Guan Ziyi was stunned for a moment, and suddenly remembered his childhood. When she was young, she would come to Qi Chenjun to ask for credit after getting good grades at the end of the exam. At that time, he would always say, "Xiao Wu is very good," and then she would ask her what reward she wanted. In the past, she would always jump and ask for this and that. Guan Ziyi smiled in his eyes, and his heart suddenly fell on cotton candy, sweet and soft. She even felt that she could forgive him for walking so silently. But the list hasn't come out yet. If I'm really selected, it's never too late to say it. Qi Chenjun, okay, I'll celebrate when that time comes. Well, good. The author has something to say. So far, the two have no distractions. Half an hour later, Qi Chenjun took her to a Chinese restaurant. The restaurant is near the lake and has a very good location. All the way in, you will find antique ornaments where you can see, and the pieces are of great value. In fact, Guan Ziyi is quite familiar with this place, because this restaurant has been open for more than 10 years, and her brother Guan Yuanbei visits most often. When I walk to the door of the box I often go to, the waiter helped to open the door. After the door was opened, a piece of floor-to-ceiling glass window imprinted in front of the eye, and the panoramic view of the lake outside the window was extremely transparent. Inside, there is a red sandalwood wooden table, and the tea set on the table is hot, and the fragrance lingers. At this time, there was a man sitting at the table, the man with a handsome face and good looks, quietly drinking tea. It is Guan Yuanbei. Come here very quickly. Qi Chenjun walked over and sat down opposite him. Guan Yuanbei hummed, raised his eyes and looked at Guan Ziyi. His eyes were not scary, but Guan Ziyi pursed his lips and sat next to Qi Chenjun without hesitation. Guan Yuanbei snorted coldly, I thought you would use hundreds of excuses not to come. A smile appeared on Guan Ziyi's face, why, brother, you haven't asked me for dinner in a long time, of course I want to come. You are too busy, I can't make an appointment. The corner of Guan Ziyi's mouth twitched slightly, and the hand under the table grabbed Qi Chenjian's hem. The latter knows and bypasses the topic very cooperatively, have you ordered? Guan Yuanbei retracted his gaze, not yet. The waiter inside the door hurriedly took the menu and handed it to the lady first. Guan Ziyi was really dog-legged. He immediately turned the menu and pushed it in front of Guan Yuanbei, brother, you order. Guan Yuanbei, I want to eat something. No need, brother, I like everything you order. Guan Yuanbei glanced at her and cursed with a smile, look at you like this, speak well. Guan Ziyi let go after seeing him smile, I'm not normal. Glib tongue. Guan Yuanbei lowered his eyes to order. Although he was strict with Guan Ziyi, he was indeed good. After reading the menu, Guan Ziyi liked to order a few items. After finishing the order, he handed it to Qi Chenjun, if it weren't for you today, she probably wouldn't be here. Qi Chenjun, oh? Really? Guan Ziyi, where is it, can you be a little confident? Do you still dare to deny? Guan Yuanbei said, how many times before I called you to go home or ask you to come out for a meal, you all said that you were busy with things. Guan Ziyi blinked and began to pretend to have amnesia. Is there? Guan Yuanbei was too lazy to pay attention to her, and said lightly, Cheng Yan, remember, this man has chased you since he was a child, and he listens to what you say, and she doesn't listen to what I say. Qi Chenjun looked at the menu, the corners of his mouth raised slightly. Guan Yuanbei said, when she was 8 years old, I told her to give your surname as your sister. She took it seriously, so happy that she didn't fall asleep all night. The old embarrassment is even going to come out and say it. Guan Ziyi looked at Qi Chenjian's eyes, his ears were red. Brother, can you say something good? What's good? Guan Yuanbei leaned back and said slowly, oh, let's talk about your boyfriend. Qi Chenjun paused slightly, boyfriend. Guan Yuanbei's indifferent face, you don't know? Your cousin didn't tell you. Qi Chenjun hasn't contacted Hua Hengzi for many days, and I really don't know what happened. Guan Yuanbei looked at him and explained, your cousin is with Xiaohu. Qi Chenjun frowned and looked at Guan Ziyi, really? Guan Ziyi is actually not very good at lying in front of Qi Chenjun. He is usually very nice and gentle to her, but if he is really upset, the deterrence is stronger for her than Guan Yuanbei. So when she saw Qi Chenjian's questioning eyes, her voice was stuck. Oh, this, we are together, right? Qi Chenjun squinted his eyes slightly, what do you mean by BA? No, it's just being together. Guan Ziyi remembered the agreement with Hua Hengzi, gritted his teeth and confirmed, just a few days ago. Qi Chenjun put down the menu, his face was a little serious. How many times have you met before you are together? Guan Yuanbei stared at her, obviously waiting for an answer. Guan Ziyi forcibly stabilized his mind, it takes a second to fall in love at first sight. Qi Chenjun. Guan Yuanbei. Guan Ziyi took a sip of tea and calmed down, brother, how did you know that dad told you? Guan Yuanbei, otherwise, knowing that you are with that kid from the Hua family, don't say he is too happy. Really? Guan Ziyi suddenly felt that it was all worth it. Dad is just as happy. Once dad is happy, he won't interfere with her. Xiao Wu, falling in love is not a joke, you are sure you like Hengzi? Guan Ziyi looked at Qi Chenjun, but she realized that the more she looked at him, the more guilty she became, so she simply stared at her fingers, I like him a lot. How much do you know about him? Don't you know him very well? Guan Ziyi muttered, what Hua Hengzi said is also your brother, so it should be quite guaranteed. Why, do you think my brother is a Miyoji citizen? What? Qi Chenjun stretched out his hand and gave her a head, be sober and understand first. Guan Ziyi shrank and looked at him with his head. Qi Chenjian's eyes sank slightly, I heard it. I heard. The dishes came slowly, during which Guan Yuanbei and Qi Chenjun trained her continuously. Guan Ziyi looked heartbroken, thinking that Qi Chenjun would be less scolded by her brother when she was here, but now it's fine, the two scolded together, it's really a mistake. Later, after finally disappearing, I finally started to eat. She ate quietly to reduce her sense of presence, while the other two ate and chatted about what stocks are rising and falling, and what company projects are 7 or 88. Can't understand a word. Halfway through the meal, Guan Ziyi's cell phone rang suddenly, and Lu Yun called her. Guan Ziyi picked it up, hello. Ziyi, Ziyang's character. Is there any result? Guan Ziyi said in her throat all of a sudden, how's it going? Lu Yun hesitated, and said in a deep voice, it's gone. No. How could it be? Lu Yun said, I looked at everyone's feedback during the audition before, and I thought it must be yours, but, hey, this situation is not uncommon. Who knows what Cheng Yaojin will kill in the middle? The light in Guan Ziyi's eyes went out a little bit, and she took a breath, and tolerated the sadness and disappointment that suddenly came up. I see, let's hang up first. Don't be too sad. Well, there are other opportunities in the future. You are ready to enter the variety show now. Guan Ziyi hung up the phone. What's wrong? Guan Yuanbei asked when seeing her face changed. Guan Ziyi said boredly, the role is gone. Qi Chenjun paused, then looked at her sideways, which character did you talk about before? Guan Yuanbei said lightly, if it's gone, it doesn't matter, eat. It doesn't matter how it is. How much she likes that novel and how much she wants to play that role. Since knowing that she can start the trial, she has been reading the script every day and acting out the plots in the mirror every day. How much effort she put into. It doesn't matter. The loss and frustration in his heart was suddenly ignited by Guan Yuanbei's understatement. Guan Ziyi suddenly put down his chopsticks and said angrily, that's very important. Guan Yuanbei paused with his chopsticks, raised his eyes and looked at her, what are you angry about? Guan Ziyi glared at him, brother, you don't know anything, why do you think it doesn't matter? Guan Yuanbei's face sinks slightly, then what do you say is important, there is no difference between this role and this role. Xiao Wu, you have been in this circle for almost 5 years, when can you give up? I don't give up. Guan Ziyi stood up, why do you make me give up because you think I will be like my mother? Brother, mother is a mother, I am me, I like to be an actor, I really like it. Guan Ziyi. I can't tell you. Guan Ziyi took the bag, turned his head and walked out. Guan Yuanbei watched Guan Ziyi slam the door and leave, his eyes flashed with pain. Qi Chenjun got up, I'll go and see. Guan Yuanbei pressed his eyebrows, trouble. Qi Chenjun didn't say anything and got up and went out. The restaurant is close to the lake, and after going out of the restaurant is a promenade facing the lake. After Qi Cheng came out of the restaurant, he saw a figure on the promenade from a distance. He frowned and followed. Little 5. His voice came from behind. Guan Ziyi reached out his hand and wiped his eyes, without looking back, I can go back by myself. Qi Chenjun took her arm, you wait. Guan Ziyi still refused to turn his head, Qi Chenjun helplessly walked in front of her. The little girl in front of her had already put on a mask, but her eyes were flushed and there were tear stains on her eyelashes, and she looked so wronged. He couldn't help crying with her, don't cry. Guan Ziyi turned his head, his voice came out of his mask, I didn't cry. It's all like this, haven't you cried? Guan Ziyi was very confused at this time. She wanted the role of Zhao Yang so much, and originally thought that the role was her own, but she was still unsuccessful. Even if she loses the election, she still has to find it hard to find her brother. She has nowhere to post any grievances. What the is going on, tell me well, I'll listen. Qi Chenjun clasped her face and wiped the tears under her eyes with his thumb, I've grown up so old, and cry like a kid. Guan Ziyi raised his eyes and looked at Qi Chenjun. Somehow, he wanted to cry even more. So the next second, tears did come out in big tears, and they couldn't control it at all. Qi Chenjun was stunned for a moment, hiss you. Can you ignore what I said just now? What are you talking about? Just what we said in the car on the way. Qi Chenjun thought for a while, and remembered, on the way here, she confidently said that the role should be hers, and said that when the list comes out, she will be rewarded. But this time, the role is gone. The kid probably felt ashamed. Qi Chenjun smiled and shook his head, when did you mention this? I just want to mention, do you think I am funny? No more, why should I be so confident? No, I didn't think you were funny. Qi Chenjun soothed as he wiped his tears, be obedient, don't cry. Guan Ziyi was wearing a mask, so crying made her breathing difficult. She pulled the mask down and revealed a flushed nose, but I'm still sad. My brother is still angry with me, it's him that's wrong, I'll talk about him when I turn around. Guan Ziyi breathed slowly, and asked seriously, can you tell him before? Qi Chenjun paused and laughed, I tried my best. Forget it, it doesn't make sense. Guan Ziyi looked down. Maybe he was right. I have tossed about it for 5 years and I haven't done anything. It's because I have a problem. It's because I failed too much. No, it's just that the opportunity has not fallen to you. Qi Chenjun patted her on the head, you are excellent and have a little confidence in yourself. Guan Ziyi's heart trembled, really? The depressed emotion seemed to disappear in his gentle words. Guan Ziyi looked at his eyes, only to feel that his heart was reviving. Bang bang, bang bang jumping loudly. Okay, I'll take you back, don't go around here again. Qi Chenjun said. Guan Ziyi let him clasp his arm and follow behind him foolishly. Brother Cheng Yan. Nothing. Qi Chenjun looked back at her and smiled faintly, seeming to be laughing at her when she grows up to cry or doesn't care about it. Guan Ziyi lowered his head and heard his heart beating hard and weirdly. In fact, there is still something to say. She wanted to say that he was as good as before. No, it should be better than before. After sending Guan Ziyi back, Qi Chenjun drove back to the restaurant. Before entering the door, he broadcasted a phone call to the person under his hand. President Qi Chenjun, has the role of Dawn in the Wild been decided? The assistant was stunned, but he didn't expect that he would suddenly care about these trivial matters. I tried the show a few days ago, and it should have been set for today. Let me see the list, and ask me by the way, why did you brush Guan Ziyi? Qi Chenjun has already decided to start the entertainment industry. The last time he invested in the court and the wild was just the beginning, and it was not a big deal. So the assistant would start to wonder why he suddenly asked such details, but when he heard the name Guan Ziyi, he suddenly understood. Was that girl actually brushed? No wonder the boss called to ask in person. After hanging up the phone, Qi Chenjun pushed open the box door. Guan Yuanbei was still sitting in the same place, but the dishes on the table had been removed and replaced with tea and some snacks. Sent her back. Guan Yuanbei seemed to have known that he would come back. Qi Chenjun sat down opposite and gave a hum. Guan Yuanbei twitched the corners of his lips, and said helplessly, every time you quarrel, you go to coax me. No wonder I was not as good as you when I was young. Qi Chenjun raised his brows slightly, this sounds a bit sour. That stinky girl has no conscience. Qi Chenjun didn't answer the conversation, but poured himself a cup of tea. After taking a sip, he said, Yuanbei, I know that you and your father are both keen on this industry, but Xiaowu is right. She is her and your mother is your mother. Guan Yuanbei looked out the window. When she died, Xiaowu was still young, so Xiaowu only knew she was envy at that time. She only felt that she was the best-looking and most eye-catching person in the world. However, the price of brilliance is sometimes not an ordinary person can bear it. I know. Qi Chenjun had lived with them before, so how could he not know about their family? Qi Chenjun, but I didn't understand when I was a little girl. She should know when she grows up. But she still wants to follow your mother's path, and she still wants to be an actor. It can be seen that she is not affected, but really likes it. Guan Yuanbei frowned, however, when my mother had the entire Guan family behind her back and she was unhappy, why should Xiao go down this road again? In fact, I only hope she can come home obediently, so that everyone will be happy. You can spoil her, she doesn't need to be so tired. Forget it, I've said this to her countless times, and she will always understand that now that she is young and energetic, she wants to fight against us. At first I thought she was just young and vigorous, but now I think she will not look back. Qi Chenjun said. Guan Yuanbei paused with the cup in his hand, only to hear Qi Chenjun continue, your heart not and the past should not be forced on her. If she likes it so much, let her go. If you are still worried, I will help you. Watch it. Guan Yuanbei looked at him suspiciously. Qi Chenjun smiled. Now the Qi family intends to enter the entertainment industry, and you will know more about this industry in the future. But you can rest assured, just watch it and you won't deliberately praise her. Guan Yuanbei, yes. Or, do you really want to lose your sister completely? Guan Yuanbei opened his mouth and pressed his eyebrows with a headache. I can't do anything with her, you see, she just left, so angrily, she couldn't speak. Xiao Wu is actually very good at talking. Qi Chenjun said, I'll be good when I'm coaxing. That's for you. Guan Yuanbei said speechlessly. When do you see if I can just coax her to stop? The corner of Qi Chenjian's mouth tickled, that's your problem. After the two chatted, Guan Yuanbei relaxed. Seeing this, Qi Chenjun left and returned to the company. Not long after he came back, many things need to be dealt with. So it wasn't until 7 o'clock in the evening that he finished part of the process and was ready to go home. But at this moment, the phone rang. Hey! President Qi, after sending someone to understand, Miss Guan's matter has come to fruition. Qi Chenjun sat down on the office chair again, say. That's it. The director and the author were very satisfied with Miss Guan. They had already decided to sign, but then they were suddenly told that they must be replaced. Must. Yes. The assistant said. The staff revealed that it was actually because of Ms. Zheng Yitong. The artist Zhao is always a relative of Zheng Yitong, and Ms. Zheng's family has a little voice in the circle, so Mr. Zhao treats Ms. Zheng very much. That's it. Ms. Zheng must change Ms. Guan, so Mr. Zhao asked to change it. After all, this IP is in the hands of Yuxing, and Ms. Guan is also an artist of Yuxing, so it's easy to handle. Qi Chenjun tapped his finger on the keyboard with a little harder. Zheng Yitong had a feast with her. This. Really? Actually the reason should be, you. Qi Chenjun paused, me. Yes. The assistant coughed softly. It is said that Miss Zheng had a grudge against Miss Guan because of what happened at the Nanzhou Hotel. At first she was jealous of you, but later found out that you and Miss Guan were nothing at all, so in just let go. Come on. Qi Chenjian's eyes sank. Zheng Yitong is the actor of The Court and the Wild. Yes. Qi Chenjun was silent for a moment. Tell Zhao Zhihui and change her. As for Xiao Guanzi, keep the original decision. If Zhao Zhihui has any comments, let him come to me. Qi Chenjian's tone was not heavy, but the assistant heard his anger, so he quickly said, Good President Qi. In fact, things like being replaced happen frequently, but Guanzi is more sad this time than ever. Because she liked the novel so much, and paid too much attention to the audition, but it was a pity, after all, there was no more. After coming back last night, Guanzi hadn't slept almost all night, so that when Lu Yun called her to clean up and go downstairs the next day, she was still confused. Sister Yun? Go downstairs? What are you doing downstairs? I will be in your community right now, hurry up. What? Don't. Sign the contract soon, get ready. The ups and downs probably refer to her current experience. Guanzi didn't understand why he was replaced when he was so optimistic, or why he suddenly had to sign a contract after a night. So after the contract was signed, she still didn't feel the authenticity. Why? Guanzi couldn't help asking on the way. Lu Yun glanced at her and smiled, You don't know why? What else to pretend with me? Guanzi was confused, I really don't know. Lu Yun was suspicious, Qi Chenjun made someone use you again. Isn't it that you went to him to deal with it? Guanzi was stunned, how could I go to him to deal with this matter? But he arranged it. Lu Yun thought for a while. It seems that he likes you quite a bit. He even helped you get revenge after he knew you were replaced. Revenge? Don't you know, before you were replaced because of Zheng Yitong's hands and feet. Now, Zheng Yitong no longer plays magical field. I heard from the assistant of Mr. Zhao that Qi Chenjun asked her to be replaced. How can it be? How can't it be possible? Qi Chenjun asked Mr. Zhao not to change. He is the biggest investor in this show, and. Ahem, there is a special reason that cannot be disclosed now, but you will know later. Guan Ziyi snorted and didn't ask much. She took out her mobile phone and clicked into the WeChat dialog box, but looking at Qi Chenjian's blank profile picture, she didn't know what to say for a while. A little excited, and a little unbelievable. He actually helped her, but, didn't he say he wouldn't help her? Ziyi, you don't know these things? Could it be that Qi Chenjun is chasing you? Cough. Guan Ziyi was choked so hard. What? Lu Yun's face was clear. Since you said that you are not in that kind of relationship, then I think this situation is chasing you. Guan Ziyi looked at Lu Yun's happy face, and felt that the explanation was unclear. She sighed softly and didn't say anything. Anyway, Lu Yun wouldn't believe it. Guan Ziyi squeezed the phone, lowered his head, and slowly typed a few words for Qi Chenjun. A few minutes later, Qi Chenjun replied to her, Guan Ziyi, Qi Chenjun, Guan Ziyi, Qi Chenjun, Guan Ziyi. The corner of Guan Ziyi's mouth raised slightly, wanting to laugh, but he was afraid that Lu Yun would see it and quickly suppress it. Turning off the phone, Guan Ziyi looked out of the window. The corners of her smiling mouth were reflected in the window, the kind that couldn't be restrained no matter how much. I think this situation is chasing you. This sentence popped out of my mind. Guan Ziyi was slightly stagnant, reaching out his hand in fear and patted his cheek. Although, she knew that Lu Yun wanted to say this sentence crookedly, and she also knew that it was impossible. But I don't know why, when she thought of this sentence, there was a sense of trembling in her heart. The day after tomorrow, I will set off to get out, fat. Guan Ziyi packed up his luggage early. After finishing packing, she quickly put on makeup and was about to set out to have dinner with Qi Chenjun. He probably knew that she couldn't drive, so Qi Chenjun went directly to the community to pick her up, and then went to the reserved restaurant together. I've come to this restaurant before, and it's really delicious. After arriving in the restaurant box, Guan Ziyi introduced the menu to Qi Chenjun like a treasure. This pepper and mochi chicken is the signature, and this beef is also, well, the desserts are also very delicious. How about a serving of them all? Qi Chenjun smiled and looked at her. Yes. I heard you say you want to record a variety show yesterday. Guan Ziyi, yes, I'm going to live with a few other artists. It's in an ancient town nearby. It's very convenient. I didn't hear you say you want to record a variety show before. This is the next one quite a while ago. Sister Yun said that this variety show may be a hit, and it will be good for me to go there. Qi Chenjun nodded and chatted, who is there? Yu Ho Lu, Xiao Ran, Lin Jier. Xiao Ran. Guan Ziyi, well, he is very popular, do you know him? Have you seen his work or I met when I was abroad? Guan Ziyi, ah? What kind of understanding are you talking about? Qi Chenjun said, last year, the company had products that he endorsed, and then I became familiar with it. So, when the two chatted casually, the dishes came. But after only a few bites, Guan Ziyi's phone rang suddenly. Because her mobile phone was on the desktop, Qi Chenjun also saw the person on the screen, Hua Hongzi. When Guan Ziyi saw this name, he subconsciously glanced at Qi Chenjun, only to see the latter's eyes faintly, and asked her, why don't you pick it up? Ah? Oh. Guan Ziyi immediately picked up the phone and pressed the answer button. Hey! Hua Hongzi's voice soon came through the earpiece. Ziyi, are you free today? It seems that we should go to an appointment, such as having a meal together, or else. I'm having a meal with brother Cheng Yan. Guan Ziyi was afraid that Hua Hongzi would say something, and Qi Chenjun, who was sitting opposite him, could hear it, so he immediately reminded Hua Hongzi. Hua Hongzi paused, and quickly reacted, "Ah, then, next time. Cough, don't say I called you. Guan Ziyi. I knew it a long time ago." "What did he say?" Qi Chenjun asked on the other side. Guan Ziyi shook his head, "It's nothing, just ask me if I want to eat." Qi Chenjun stretched out his hand, "Give me the phone." Guan Ziyi raised his eyes and glanced at him, somewhat reluctantly. "Give me." "Oh. Still dare not pass it." After receiving the mobile phone, Qi Chenjun said directly to the person on the other end, "Since I haven't eaten, come over and eat." Hua Hongzi was taken aback, "No need, brother, I actually have something. Come over." "Hua Hongzi." Qi Chenjun solemnly said, "Hua Hongzi, don't let me say it a second time. Come, come, can't I come?" Hua Hongzi scratched her hair on the other side of the phone, and said helplessly, "Send me the address." "The author has something to say, Qi Chenjun, I want to see what you are talking about in love." Hua Hongzi regretted making this call. When Qi Chenjun learned that he was with Guan Ziyi a few days ago, Qi Chenjun had already called and trained him. Later, he would meet directly, but they all let him wittily use various excuses to push them away. As a result, he hid, and he delivered it to the door himself today. Hua Hongzi was very heartbroken, and quickly sent a message to Guan Ziyi, "Guan Ziyi, Hua Hongzi, Guan Ziyi, Guan Ziyi, Hua Hongzi, Guan Ziyi, all right." Half an hour later, the young man from China, who was never shy in falling in love, arrived. When he came in from the door, Qi Chenjun and Guan Ziyi were still eating. "Brother, Ziyi." Hua Hongzi walked to Guan Ziyi's side with a smile on his face, and then held the things in his arms forward as they watched silently. "Give." A large bouquet of roses almost covered his face. "And there is something else sprayed on the rose, it smells too fragrant." Qi Chenjun raised his hand and covered his nose, frowning. "And Guan Ziyi is a bit rigid, give it to me." Hua Hongzi nodded sincerely, "Didn't you say that you like roses, so I bought a bunch for you." She never said it. But, after 2 seconds of reaction, she was still very professional and cooperative with a shy smile that was half shy and half joy, "Thank you." "Hua Hongzi, you're welcome, flowers match beautiful women, it should be." Qi Chenjun felt uncomfortable looking at his brother's greasy look. Although his brother was related by blood, he had the illusion that his cabbage had been eaten by a pig. Not very cool. But he didn't say anything, just watched. Maybe Xiaohu just likes these tricks? Guan Ziyi collected the flowers and placed them next to the chair. After putting them out, she looked at Qi Chenjun, who was opposite. The latter was leaning on the chair, his face pale, with a very calm expression. "Brother, why are you eating together today?" "It's a coincidence. I originally wanted to go to the movies with my knowledge." Hua Hongzi sat down beside Guan Ziyi. Qi Chenjun looked at him and warned, "Go to crowded places and be careful." "Hua Hongzi, I know, I must protect my knowledge." Qi Chenjun didn't even want to nag him. Hua Hongzi breathed a sigh of relief and began to eat. Of course, he did not forget to show his love for Guan Ziyi in front of Qi Chenjun during the meal. "Ziyi, come and eat this." Guan Ziyi looked at the food Hua Hongzi had caught in front of him, and cooperated with the performance. Eat this and eat this, you actors should not be too thin, and eat more." "I eat a lot." "Eat more. By the way, you like dessert, don't you? Shall we order another piece?" Guan Ziyi shook his head quickly, "No, I'm very full." "Let's do it." Hua Hongzi looked at her with a smile, and did not forget to reach out and touch her head after speaking. Guan Ziyi was stunned for a moment. When Hua Hongzi retracted her hand very gently, she subconsciously looked at Qi Chenjun, and he also saw Hua Hongzi's behavior, but his gaze was only a slight stroke. After the past, the expression seemed to be polite not to see the intimacy between the little lovers, and it seemed that they could not stand the children showing their affection in front of them. But beyond that, there are no other emotions to be seen. Guan Ziyi's heart was suddenly empty for some reason, and even Hua Hongzi squeezed her lightly for several times and she didn't respond. Knowledge. What? What are you thinking about, so ecstatic? Hua Hongzi kept winking at her. Guan Ziyi reacted, constricted his mind and smiled at him. It's nothing, I'm thinking about any good movies recently. Oh this, I'll find out, you pick one. Good. After Hua Hongzi came, he was the main speaker. Guan Ziyi occasionally gave back an expression of what my boyfriend said is so funny, and left himself in a daze for the rest of the time. After half an hour, the three of them finished eating and prepared to leave. Brother, where are you going now, or go to the movies with us? Hua Hongzi said. Qi Chenjun glanced at him impatiently, look with you? Are you crazy? Hua Hongzi, oh, don't be shy. We are all our own. Neither Ziyi nor I would mind. Qi Chenjun, forget it, I have something to do. Let's play by myself. Oh, all right. Qi Chenjun got up and put on his coat, then turned around and said to Guan Ziyi, I will leave tomorrow, pay attention to safety. Guan Ziyi nodded. Qi Chenjun, call me again if you have any questions. Good. Then I will go first. After Qi Chenjun finished speaking, he left the box door. Guan Ziyi looked at the direction he was leaving, and felt a little bored when he remembered that he would not see him for a long time in the future. Brother is really good to you, better than to me. Hua Hongzi sighed. Guan Ziyi didn't say anything. Hua Hongzi said again, how was my cousin when he was a child? I have been living in a foreign country. I didn't get acquainted with him until my cousin went abroad. I didn't see him much when I was young. When he was a kid. Yes, you grew up next to him, you must know. Guan Ji thought for a while, and his thoughts drifted away. He was very good when he was a kid, he has good grades, and he is very good looking. Many people like him in school. Of course he has a very good personality and is very gentle. Gentle. Hua Hongzi stared, will he still be gentle? Damn it. Guan Ziyi glanced at him, why not, brother is already very gentle, okay. I didn't feel any tenderness in him. You must be too skinny, you have to be tougher. Hua Hongzi said with a loud voice, then I really envy you. I heard that you have 3 older brothers, right? In addition, my cousin who is not a big brother is better than a big brother. When I was a child, I was spoiled by 4 older brothers. Wow, that's so cool. When I was a child, I didn't get close to the 2 cousins of my uncle's family, and my brother Guan Yuanbei had been very strict with her since he was a child. Speaking of pet, strictly speaking, only Qi Chenjun has really been petting her. Guan Ziyi, it's okay. Don't be humble. Hua Hongzi said while watching the movie information on his mobile phone, Ziyi, which movie will we watch later? Guan Ziyi was surprised, really? Hey? Don't you really look at it? My brother is gone, so I don't have to pretend. Hua Hongzi thinks about it, too, but where shall we go? Otherwise, let's go home separately. Wow, you really don't want to stay with me. Hua Hongzi pretended to be angry, if you are like this, I will go to see another young lady and watch a movie. You can do whatever you want. Hua Hongzi's self-confidence was suppressed at all, let's do it, but I have to send you home before that, or else I'll get scolded by my brother. Guan Ziyi was also refreshed, okay, let's go then. Fuck off, fat. On the day of the recording, Lu Yun sent Guan Ziyi to the place where the artists were about to live. The place was located in an ancient town on the edge of the imperial capital, and the scenery was very beautiful. In the car where he went, Guan Ziyi browsed some news about variety shows. The variety show was officially announced after confirming the list of artists. Because of the big celebrities like Xia Ran, the variety show was almost unrecorded. Originally, this was also a good thing for Guanzi, but when he looked around, he suddenly realized that there was a wind direction that was cursing her. Wait, what are you scolding her for? What did she do wrong again? Guanzi continued to eat melons speechlessly, and after eating for a while, he finally understood. It turned out that the cast of Dawn and the Wild had flowed out, and the gossip had been flying all over the sky. In Morning and Wild, the Major General played by Xia Ran and the Princess Zhao Yang played by Guanzi are against the fateful Mandarin Ducks. Coincidentally, Xia Ran and Guanzi wanted to record this variety show together before joining the group. As a result, some marketing accounts began to speculate that suddenly participating in the variety show must be to shape the CP feeling of Morning and Wild in the future. Morning and Wild is a big IP. If this CP becomes hot, it will be hot. But netizens scoffed at this statement. Who wants to engage in CP, who wants to stick? Guanzi looked around for a while and bawled, whether the variety show is signed before March and no, how can it be premeditated? Lu Yun, but it's not bad if the CP can be fried. Guanzi looked at her blankly, Sister Yun, calm down. Other female artists are eager to fry CP with Xia Ran. With his current popularity, you know how many times your exposure can be doubled. She knows, it's because she knows that she sweats on her back. But I also know what it will be called. What's wrong with being scolded? It's really miserable if no one scolds you. Guanzi took a light breath, no blessings will disappear. Lu Yun laughed twice, don't talk about it so early, this CP also depends on the spark between you, and it can be fried. 2. Guanzi thought firmly after putting down the phone, so she had to avoid it, and she must not give the program group any chance to edit. Fuck off, fat. The house arranged for the artists in is a very large wooden townhouse, which is antique and has a unique feeling. Not far from the door, the staff gave Guanzi off the wheat, and the cameraman also followed her. Guanzi pulled the suitcase and started walking inside. She was late, and when she arrived, the other 5 were already in the villa. 2 males and 3 females. In addition to the popular fried chicken Xia Ran, there is also a crosstalk actor Ho Lu, 30 years old, chubby and pitsy triso. Next to Ho Lu is comedian Huang Xiao, female, slightly fat. The remaining 2 girls are called Lin Jia and Yang Ziruo. They are both actors. Yang Ziruo has a literary name, but they are fit, with wheat-colored skin and a little fleshy. Lin Jia's body is thin, but she is a little too thin. It looks good on the screen, but it looks a little too much in reality. After Guanzi went in and greeted everyone cautiously, get out, fat. Even if the recording has officially started. Because it is the subject of health and life, everyone measured their weight and made it public at the beginning. In the next month, every participating artist must live in this place, exercise and eat in accordance with the rules, and reach the target body fat percentage set by the program group for everyone in 1 month. Guanzi is not high, Beta Bake has put 165 on it, but it is actually 163. It's okay to be public, but the weight scale frightened her. After a period of time without filming without special control, her weight soared to 93 kilograms. The height and weight of ordinary people are normal, but for star actors, this is simply terrible. After Guanzi came down from the scale, everyone was a little dizzy. Suddenly I am a little grateful to Lu Yun for receiving such a variety show for her. With the camera monitor, she has greater motivation to lose weight. The author has something to say, I went to check it out specially, and the stars under 165 are basically weighing more than 80 kgs.